workplace didn't change, or maybe it did, right? If you changed or if you don't like it, you can own that. I've been in HR long enough to know that it's the employees who are miserable but choose to stay are the ones that are toxic. If you're unhappy in your job, it's time for you to communicate it and leave. If you think you're doing a really good job of convincing everybody that you're happy, you're probably not. I can pretty much guarantee that everyone knows that you're miserable, especially if you have been for a while. So why not just be straightforward and direct? A lot of people ask me, what's the number one thing that hiring managers do wrong in interviews? Here it is. They talk too much, way too much. According to the EEOC, an interview is a test and it should be conducted like a test, but this is how hiring managers do it. They go into the interview and they say, so let me tell you a little bit about me, let me tell you about our department, let's talk about the role, let's talk about the potential projects that you might work on, let me talk to you about some of the team members in the department, so why are you interested in working here? And if the candidate has more than 2 brain cells, they just regurgitate back to them everything that they just said. And then a couple months later, the hiring manager comes to me dumbfounded and they're like, I don't understand why this person didn't work out. Well, that's because you didn't vet them in the interview process. You didn't ask them any questions. My name's Anna Papalia, and I want to teach you how to interview better. Go to my website, shiftprofile.com. Take our scientifically validated interview style assessment to determine your interview style. Do you interview as either a charmer, a challenger, a harmonizer, or an examiner? You'll then receive a 40-page customized interview prep workbook that outlines the impression that you're making in interviews, what you're doing right and wrong, tips backed in research and science on how to get better, and even ways for your style to prepare better for the interview process. Comment below for a 50% off coupon, and good luck in your next interview. You don't need a career coach to get better at interviewing. You just really need to practice. Practicing interviewing is the only way to get better at it. The problem with this, though, is that means that you have to get interviews in order to practice. And that means you have to practice in interviews that might be for your dream job, missing out on great opportunities. So often people hire a career coach or they'll practice with their friends and family to get it out of their system before they actually go into the interview. I've been a coach for 11 years and I've been teaching people how to interview for a long time. Previously, I was in HR. And I asked myself a critical question: what are people doing when they practice? What they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out who they are. They're trying to discover what impression that they're making so they can leverage that. What if I could do that for them? So I conducted a lot of research at Temple University, and I discovered that we all have an interview style, and you interview in one of 4 ways. You're either a charmer, a challenger, a harmonizer, or an examiner. I can provide you with a detailed report on the impression that you're making, everything that you're doing right and wrong in interviews. If you'd like to know this before you go into your next interview, comment below for a 50% off coupon and follow me for more tips.
Think of things. Come on, brain. Think of things. Come on, brain. Be so smart.
Here's a common interview question that stumps a lot of people. Tell me about yourself. People ask me all the time, how should I answer this question? So I don't want you to get intimidated just because it's open-ended. Every good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. All you need to answer this better is a framework. Here's the framework. I want you to talk a little bit about your past, what you're currently doing in the present, and what you want in the future. For example, I went to the University of Pennsylvania for psychology, and I got out and I found a career in HR. I started as an HR generalist, worked my way up into recruiting, and then ultimately left the corporate world as a director of talent acquisition. In that role, I was responsible for hiring everyone. I was the corporate gatekeeper, and I hired over 80% of the organization by the time I left. But in that role, I decided that I wanted to do something bigger with my life. I wanted to teach people how to interview rather than judge them for a living. So I started my own business in 2011 called Shift Profile, where I specialize in teaching job seekers and hiring managers how to interview better. And then I created a scientifically valid personality assessment that discovers someone's interview style and gives them customized interview prep workbooks. I'm really passionate about the interview process, and I know that I can use the skills and my experience that I've gained in my 20-year career at your organization. That's how you answer, tell me about yourself. A little bit about your past, a little bit about your present, and what you want in the future. And spoiler alert, the future is always how you can solve their problems using your past experience. Good luck in your next interviews.
I want.
Everyone agrees. All of the ancient philosophers, modern neuroscientists, and religions. You are the thing that's holding you back. Because whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you're right. It all starts with you. You hold the keys to your own salvation. So I ask you, what are you going to do today to remove some obstacles that you've placed in front of yourself? If you are powerful beyond measure, what if it's your light that frightens you more than the darkness? Here's the one question I ask myself very frequently to gain clarity, to make sure I understand my priorities, and to stay motivated. My name's Anna Papalia, and I'm the CEO of Shift Profile, and I'm going to be doing a series, kind of a walk and talk. I'm going to post every morning because back when I started my business, I wrote a blog post once a week, part motivation, part random thoughts, but I want to do a quicker video TikTok version. So here's the question. You see, recently my best friend lost his brother-in-law. He was only 56. This guy never did anything wrong his entire life. He lived such a clean life. He ran marathons. He lived on a cul-de-sac. He worked for the government. And he died at 56 from throat cancer. And 6 months ago, I lost my own cousin who lived the opposite life. He lived hard. He partied. He was covered in tattoos. He joined a motorcycle gang. And he died at 43 in his sleep from a diabetic seizure. It's not how I expected him to go. To be honest with you, I expected him to die in a bar fight or in a motorcycle crash. So all of this reminds me of the question that I asked myself and where it was derived from. Back in 2010, I was walking down the street and I was held up at gunpoint with my